Today I'm going to be giving an informative speech on painting. So, painting is an art form that has been around since the beginning. The painting on cave walls, to the ancient Greek era of pottery, to the Renaissance and to modern times. There are many different forms and beliefs on painting, and today that's what I'm going to be sharing with you. Ancient Greece art era ranged from around 800 BC to around 400 BC. Pottery was the most prominent source of art throughout that time period. It paved the way for the medieval era to come. The medieval era includes early Christian art, the Romanesque era, and to the more well-known Gothic era. The Gothic period lasted from 1100 to 1400. The most prominent artist from the Gothic era was most notably Giotto, the Italian painter who worked mostly on frescoes. Moving into the Italian Renaissance, it is the time period of the great masters, Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Raphael. The period ran from around 1400 to late 1500. The painters and sculptors who to this day are considered the great masters. The most notably recognized painting of all time is Da Vinci's Mona Lisa. This painting can be recognized by almost anyone. The modern art era includes Impressionism, Symbolism, and Post-Impressionism. Painters in the Impressionist era include Claude Monet, Edgar Degas, and Georges Seurat. Post-Impressionism is the era that includes painters such as Vincent van Gogh, Pablo Picasso, and Henri Matisse and Paul Cézanne. Van Gogh is arguably one of the most well-known artists of all time. His Starry, Starry Night is most recognized painting of all time, second to the Mona Lisa. You can find it on various clothing items and on posters of all kinds. Finally, contemporary art. This time period is from 1946 to present time. This includes pop art, minimalism, graffiti, installation, realism, and photorealism. The most notable artists from this time are Andy Warhol, Chuck Close, Salvador Dali, and Jackson Pollock. These painters paved the way and revolutionized the way we look at art today. Different kinds of paint that were used throughout the eras include acrylic paint, that is one of the most popular paints to use on canvas. Acrylic is water soluble, meaning you can use water to thin down paint and wash your brushes. Acrylic is made of pigment suspended in acrylic polymer emulsion. This creates the paint to dry very quickly and to not give the artist a lot of time to work on blending and other details. Another type of paint that became more popular during the Italian Renaissance is oil paint. Oil paint is made by mixing medium or pigments such as different types of colors and oil. You cannot use water as a mixing medium with oil paint. Most notably used is linseed oil for medium and using turpentine to rinse out a brush and thin your paint. It is most painters' favorite since it is a pigment mixed with oil to create a paste. This causes for a more vibrant approach and a lasting longing color. A slowing drier time also gives the artist a max amount of time on a specific area. You can keep blending for days at a time. Tempera is the less popular paint of today, but it reigned its reign during the Gothic era and early Renaissance. It is highly favorable for painters to complete frescoes. A fresco painting is using water-soluble paints directly on freshly applied plaster. But this creates very little time for the artist to work. Therefore, an artist using this technique would have to work in very small areas as to not let the paint and plaster dry too quickly. Tempera is made of pigment mixed with egg traditionally. The act of tempera on freshly applied plaster wall creates a very permanent surface. This is one of the most lasting painting techniques. The last kind of paint I'm going to be talking about is watercolor. Watercolor is made from pigment and usually gum arabic. Watercolor is usually mixed with water and then applied to paper using water to create the desired texture. Aesthetics in painting. Our brave craves beauty, whether it be in the sunset or a painting in a museum. Our brain is chemically wired to crave beautiful things. Our brain releases dopamine when you see something beautiful, and that brings you pleasure. Seeing something beautiful brings just that, pleasure. For some, it could be a religious experience to see Michelangelo's David in person, to think about how somebody could sculpt such life from a block of marble. Or to some, it might be a religious experience to see the sunrise in the beautiful colors in the morning. The functionalism of art would that to bring pleasure, to bring value as an investment, or to give order and significance to an object. In conclusion, painting is a pleasurable entity to possess. The act of painting can be described as entrancement. The embracing of painting or art will bring beauty to the world, order and structure to society, and pleasure to all. It is very interesting in the world of researching paint and the types used throughout the ages.